Hey, can you hear me? Anyone? Sweet. Awesome. I'm just waiting for a couple more people to get in here. Looks like we got 21. So I'm just giving it a minute. I don't know if my post posted telling you guys I was getting on at 6. Oh, it did. Okay, good. We got some important stuff to talk about today. I don't know if you guys could tell by the title of this live stream. Let's see. We got Gelato Runts left something in the chat. I understand your criticism on DoorDash and Uber Eats, but I would risk doing 12 hours a day, 7 days a week doing this full time Miami with a 2013 Volkswagen Jetta. Not sure if he's are you asking me if I'd be willing to do that, or are you just telling me that's what you do? Sorry, I'm a little bit confused by that. But yeah, we got some important stuff to go over today. I'm giving it another minute or so just to let a couple more people. Oh, that's what you're planning on doing. Um so are you asking me, is that a good plan to do 12 hours a day, 7 days a week? I mean, how many miles does your car have on it? Yeah, I mean, it'd be worth it then if you just want to get out of the system and work for yourself. And your car has 78,000 miles. I'd say it's a good plan to do. I would definitely test out your market, see if it's worth it for you and for your money goals. But I think if that's your plan to do long term, then it's really not the best long term plan, which is kind of something I'm going to be talking about today. Excuse me. Sheesh. But yeah, I don't think it's a very good long term plan because if you're doing 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, one, that's just going to get tiring really fast. It's very mundane work. And then also just the amount of sitting that you're going to be doing in the car. Um, and yeah, if you're doing 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, you'll have to replace your car before 5 years. I would assume. I mean, depending on how many miles you're driving and how long it lasts, then maybe it could go another 5 years. But yeah, I think if you did that a year, save up some good money, and then maybe go into something else, maybe start a business or something like that, which is something I'm going to be getting into on this live stream. But looks like we got a decent amount of people in here. I'll just get started, and people can be rolling in as they please. Um, and I'll be reading chats throughout the whole stream, so feel free to ask me whatever you guys want in there. I don't have to just talk about what I'm looking to talk about. Oh, thank you. Polymetal CX30 super chat, $4.99. I really appreciate that. They said, at least in my area, Uber Eats seems more reliable. Also, DoorDash making you schedule plus the zones. I'm on Long Island and DoorDash is dead. Yeah, the scheduling of the zones with DoorDash makes it tough because then it almost forces you to be a top dasher if you want that complete freedom of just going out whenever you want. So, oh, I appreciate that. Scotland has my heart. Another $4.99 super chat. I am new and in your market. I don't know what to set as my goal. Only doing DoorDash so far. It's been like 2 weeks. Um, that's a good question. I mean, I'd like to know a little bit. or I'd have to know a little bit more about your situation. Um, why are you door dashing? How much are you willing to put in? Do you have a different job? Um, Stuff like that, because that's really going to depend on what your goal is. And I'm going to be talking about goal setting today. Not necessarily goal setting, I guess, but just I'm trying to get your guys' opinion on some goals. We'll get into that later in the live stream. But yeah, Scotland, if you're in my area, then and you're doing DoorDash, I mean, you can, first of all, I would highly suggest getting on other apps. I would add Uber Eats immediately and Instacart, just so you have as many apps at your disposal as possible. And then also just like, I mean, I would try rideshare too. If you're not comfortable with rideshare, then you don't need to worry about it. But it is a lot better in our area. If you're in the same area as me, rideshare is a lot better. Um, he says, I know, I just don't want to screw up. I mean, it's hard to screw up door dashing, but if you really want some insight, I think the best area is the South Jordan area. I'm talking about my specific zone, Scotland. Since you did a super chat, that's why I'm going in more detail with your chat. But I would suggest going in the South Jordan market. It seems to be the best. And then staying around State Street. That seems to be where the majority of orders are. That's just what I've learned in the past 6 years. So you can keep asking me stuff if you let me know more about your situation. But other than that, I can't really answer anything more in regards to that. I want to get to some more of these super chats. Let's see. Okay. The maintenance kid. If you plan on just chilling in your car, chilling with the homies, yeah, sign up. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. That something I've noticed with Uber Eats is it's easier to cherry pick on Uber Eats because they don't have the stupid top dasher thing where you have to have a 70% acceptance rate. So if you're going to be cherry picking a lot and you don't want to drive a lot of miles, then I would definitely do Uber Eats and Instacart at the same time because it's that seems to be the best duo if you're not really worried about how fast you can make money, if you're just worrying about optimizing your or I guess not optimizing, but like lowering your expenses and just taking the best orders out there. And you don't have to worry about acceptance rate or anything like that. Uber Eats and Instacart. I've been doing a lot of that lately. Yes, I have an email. It's in my channel description. If you want to head over there after this, you can email me. Got another super chat, $4.99 from Polymetal CX30 again. Appreciate that a lot. Oh, we got Trevor's deliveries in here. What's up? Anyway, back to the super chat. My point is, as independent contractor, DoorDash making you schedule plus staying in a zone just makes it the worst app, in my opinion, for gig work. Yeah. I mean, the worst app for gig work out of the main ones, like if you're talking Uber, Lyft, Instacart, DoorDash, Uber Eats, then yeah, I would say it probably is the worst out of all of them in terms of just how the app is run, the amount of pay that you get, and how much DoorDash takes from your pay. I would definitely say DoorDash is the worst. But DoorDash is the easiest to do, if that makes sense. So I agree, but I also slightly disagree with that. But yeah, we got Gelato Runts. Another thing I wanted to ask is how long does it take to get hired for companies like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart, and Grubhub? With DoorDash, I think it's like a day or two. Like after you sign up, it's really, really not that long. Just once you pass like the background check and everything like that, it's like a day. I think I got on maybe even that same day, like in that afternoon or something. We got Jake Moore. They're also the most popular. Yeah, DoorDash is the most popular. So you can rely on them to have the majority of market share, which means more orders in theory. So yes, that is one benefit about DoorDash. We got Medbaya. Which city are you in? I am kind of all over, just like the Salt Lake area. because I do a lot of rideshare right now. Ultra Instinct, no more stacks for me. $2 is unacceptable. Yeah, $2 or the stack orders, they're getting worse and worse. Hi, when do we receive the tax form from DoorDash? You should have already got it sent to you if you made over $600 last year. I got mine in the mail already. So, been on Instacart waitlist for 6 months now. Dang, that is rough. Yeah, that's me with Walmart Spark. I wish I could get on Walmart Spark so bad because I think it's the best in my area. According to the Solo app, it says the average is like $30 an hour, which is great. We got Roderick Roach. I dash in the hood a lot. Bit surges be good. That's good. Oh, we got Nugs in here too. Boxing match. I wish. I gotta start training for that if I'm a box you, Nugs. I don't think I'm ready for that heat. We got Ultra Instinct. Been on Insta waiting list for over a year. Dang, that's crazy. Scotland has my heart again. They're saying Walmart Spark, the worst customer service in South Jordan and Lehigh. Nugs is still trying to box out here. I would do it. We could do it on a live stream. That would be pretty dope. Okay, comment in the chat if you guys would want to see that, because that's just funny to think about, in my opinion. We got William Weaver, been on Walmart Spark, but been deactivated 5 times, waiting on reactivate. People lie to get you deactivated when you're messing with their money. Yeah, it's true. How much do you average per day in the SLC area? I go out like it's a lot of varying hours because I mean I do a lot of other stuff. So average per day, it's anywhere from like 30 to 300 really. But average per hour doing rideshare, I can usually get about 28 to $34 an hour every hour I'm out there. And then if I'm doing food delivery like DoorDash, Uber Eats, then it's usually about 20, sometimes even less. William Weaver says they were making 3K a week on Spark. That's interesting. I might need William to put in some more chats in a little bit when we're talking about the $500 a day that I mentioned in the title of the video or title of the live stream, because we are going to get to that. I mean, we're 13 minutes in now. I was kind of waiting for more people to get in and just answer your guys' chats. But yeah, we are going to get into exactly why I titled this live stream why I did. We're going to be talking about low DoorDash pay. We're going to be talking about hitting $500 a day, which I think is a very realistic goal. Now, I'm not just talking about with gig work. I mean, we're going to be going into some other stuff. And then I did want to talk about some goals and also a gig work mastermind. So, let's see, any more chats? Oh, the question is where? Yeah, I don't know where we would box, honestly. We got a good question right here. How do I maximize profits on DoorDash? Well, you're definitely going to want to get, like if you can, I would get a Prius because they're better than electric cars even in terms of how much you're going to be spending on gas. And then also if you have to make any repairs or anything like that, they're going to be better. So definitely get your hands on a Prius. And then also, sorry, I'm getting distracted by the chat. And then also just figure out what works best for you and your goals. I would say just a standard rule of thumb is don't accept any order that's below $1 per mile. So that's just kind of a good basis to start at if you don't have a lot of experience with door dashing. But I've made a lot of videos on how to maximize profits on DoorDash. You can check out some of those. But Ultra Instinct says, nah, I meant where he making that 3K. Let's see. William Weaver, Spark Bro. I find the screenshots. I got orders from Spark. $65 for 11 miles, $150 8 to 12 stops, 30 to 40 miles. Shop and pays of $12 to $30 for 20 or less items. Dang it. I mean, it sounds better than Instacart, in my opinion. Um, we got Gabriella D. How long do you think it takes to change states? I drive to Las Vegas area and planning to move to Utah. I don't think it takes long at all, maybe a day, but I think you can just change it in the app settings pretty immediately. We got Yost Malone. What's the worst offer on any app that you've seen? I've seen one that's like, I think it was 24 miles for, gosh, I think it was like $3.50, and that was on DoorDash. We got Mr. Geo again, asking what's the best investment I can make as a DoorDasher for DoorDash. I would say a Prius, honestly. If you're doing it long term, then try and get your hands on a Prius. They just get the best gas mileage and they're cheap to fix and they last forever and they retain their value really good too. So the depreciation on your car is not nearly as high as other things or other cars. So I would say that's the best investment because, like, take my car for instance, it gets about 30 miles per gallon. So if I'm doing it full time for the week, I'm spending maybe a couple $100 on gas. But if I had a Prius, that automatically cuts my gas bill in half. So I'd be saving like 100, maybe some weeks even $200 a week on gas. So you can see how it might pay for itself, even to take out a loan on a Prius. That's something that I'm really considering doing pretty soon, is getting a Prius. William Weaver says his market is Boynton Beach. Not really sure what state that's in, but that's where supposedly he's making $3,000 a week on Spark. So that's awesome. We got Cargo Black. Do you get a whole lot more free time than a normal job? Yeah, I mean, I would say you get way more free time than a normal job. One, because you can work whenever you want. So if you want to work at 5 a.m, start your day off then you can start your day then and be done with work a full 8 hours, be done by 1 o'clock, or you can start your day at 6 o'clock and go till 2 a.m. So, I mean, it's super flexible. So I definitely think you have more free time than a normal job. Gelato Runt saying my only expense would be gas for my car, eventually paying car insurance. I mean, that's not the only expense, unfortunately. I've made videos on this. You can go watch my recent one. It's called I'm Exposing DoorDash. If you go and watch that one, you'll see all the expenses that have to do with DoorDash because it is not just gas, unfortunately. And we got Boynton Beach is in Florida, if you guys were wondering that. We got, I don't know how to say that, Zanian Empire. My market, unless you only want to work 2 hours a day at night, you literally need to schedule your shift because you can't go dash now until like 6 p.m. Yeah, that's how it is in my market too. Like if I'm not a top dasher, I cannot schedule unless I'm on it immediately. The second the shifts open up, that's when I have to get on because otherwise there's just no shifts. Let's see. We got Gelato Runts again. So Blake is $17.85 an hour good in Miami. I would say probably not. Miami, I think the cost of living is higher than where I'm at. And I know $17.85 would not be good for me. So yeah, if that's what you're making, I would try and get on other apps. I know sometimes that's just what it is and you got to deal with it. So if that's the case, then it is what it is. But if you can get on more apps, try and multi-app or try out like neighboring areas, sometimes that you can make a lot more. All right, we're going to get into some stuff now. You guys can still leave your chats. I'll get to them if I have time. But if you really want me to answer a question, then you can do like what some of these other guys did, leave a super chat. You don't have to. I can still get to as many as possible. But yeah, I wanted to get into some of these things. So low DoorDash pay. We talked all last week about the DoorDash strike, even though it was mostly Uber and Lyft strike. But we were talking about DoorDash pay, how base pay, in my prediction, is just going to keep going down. unfortunately. We've seen it drop down to $2. We've seen on the stack orders, it is now $1. And yeah, I just think it's going to continue to go down. And I mean, I mentioned this in a lot of my videos over the past, like last week when I was making all those about the strike, is that there are going to be more dashers than there ever has been. And it's just going to get harder to make money on DoorDash because it's the most appealing platform. They have the best marketing, in my opinion. They have the most appeal as an app to anyone out there. It's super easy. It's not dangerous compared to being a rideshare driver, and it is busier in most areas than Uber Eats or Instacart, things like that. It is the most appealing, and DoorDash wants the most drivers. They have the biggest market share, and they don't want people leaving their platform to go and do other things like order from Uber Eats or stuff like that. And so I've said this stat many times, but I saw a stat. It must have been a while ago, but I've said it many times in a lot of my videos, is that by 2025, which is just next year now, half of the US workforce will be doing gig work. So I believe that's 55 million people. And that means things are going to get very crowded. And I don't know about you guys. You can let me know in the chat if this is true for you. But DoorDash, it's hard to make money on the platform now. There's a lot of slow time. There's a lot of time wasted in between orders. And there's a lot of low orders coming in consistently, which makes it really hard. Like we've been talking about, in some areas, it's important to be a top dasher because otherwise you can't get a shift scheduled. And so you try and keep that 70% acceptance rate so that you can go out whenever you want. But it's hurting your pay overall, which I get because I try and be a top dasher all the time. And so it makes it hard when DoorDash is overcrowding and oversaturating most markets. They are just continuing to lower the base pay, and they're making it so that you have to accept the majority of orders because otherwise you won't be able to schedule. So with thinking that in mind, or with keeping that in mind, that's why I have been doing a lot of rideshare recently. So I wanted to show you guys on, I've gone out just a couple hours on Monday, Tuesday, and today, just a couple hours each day. And these 3 days are the slowest days of the week when it comes to DoorDash. Mondays are decent, but I think we all can agree that Tuesdays and Wednesdays are the worst days. And so I just wanted to show you guys this in case you're unaware of the money that you can make on other platforms, because it's a big difference. I would probably have averaged $16 an hour the past 3 days, and I've only gone out for a little over 7 hours. So let me just show you guys the pay I made from Uber Rideshare. So $151.42 in 7 hours and 21 minutes. So let me get to Lyft because this pay, it overlaps. You guys will be able to see. As you can see right here, $106.48. And that is 7 hours and 21 minutes as well. That's because I overlap both of these and have them running at the same time. So the way I multi-app with rideshare is I have Uber and Lyft going at the same time. If I get a ride from Lyft, then I switch Uber over to Uber Eats. So then if I get, how do I say this? It's easier to accept an order off of Uber Eats rather than an Uber ride, because if I'm doing a Lyft ride, then I can look at the Uber Eats order that I received, and if the pickup location is close to the passenger drop-off on Lyft, then I'll accept it. But I can't do that with a Uber ride because it just doesn't work that way, if that makes sense. I don't know if I explained that very well, but so that's what I do. I always have Uber going at all times, and then if I'm doing an Uber, then I just let Lyft go, and when I'm getting very close to the drop-off of the Uber ride or the Uber order, then I will start accepting a Lyft ride again. So I overlap them, have them running at the same time. But as you guys saw, in 7 hours and 21 minutes, I made $257. I'm going to just do the quick math for that. 257 divided by like 7.5 hours. That's an average of $34.27 per hour on the 3 slowest days of the week. So it's way, way better than even if I were to do DoorDash and Uber Eats multi-apping, because it's interesting. It seems like rideshare is way more consistent across all days and across all times of days. So that is why we're talking about low DoorDash pay, because it's a big problem. And I think some people think they just have to stick with DoorDash. It's the most popular in their area. Has the biggest market share, but you don't have to worry about that. Like, you can get on Grubhub and Uber Eats if you want to stick to food delivery. That'll definitely help increase your pay. But rideshare is definitely where it's at if you want to be making the most money as fast as possible. Now, you do put, geez, if I could talk, that would be cool. You do put a little bit more mileage on your car doing rideshare, but I think it's worth it in the end. I mean, as you guys saw, averaging $34 an hour rather than like $16 or $18 an hour, that definitely makes a huge difference, even with the little extra miles that you're putting on your car. Because we do have to remember that the miles you put on your car add up to a bigger tax write-off at the end of the day. So yes, it's putting more wear and tear on your car, more depreciation on your car, but you're also getting a bigger tax write-off in the end. So it kind of evens out. But yeah, I just definitely think if you're struggling with DoorDash, don't be afraid to try rideshare. Let's see. I'm going to answer some of these chats real quick because I've missed a lot. We've got B Bala. The way these companies pay, I strongly disagree. More like people are going to be looking for jobs that they actually make money. Yeah, that's true. By 2025, a lot of people will probably try gig work, but they'll probably find out pretty quickly that you can't solely live off of it in most areas. Then we got Gelato Runts. Might as well rely on the other apps besides DoorDash. Totally agree. Scotland has my heart. Is that with Solo? Not really sure what you're asking there. Sorry. We got B Bala again. Roderick Roach, if you believe 3,000 in a week, you believe in Santa and the Tooth Fairy. Ain't nobody making that, bro. Come on now. I mean, if he's got screenshots, then I definitely believe it. But I've never made that much. I've done 112 hours in a week before I was just using DoorDash, and I only made like 2,300. So that's tough. We got Tahim TV. Hey, I'm trying to get my Uber reactivated. Good luck with that. Yeah, good luck with that. It can be hard and it can be easy depending on what they deactivated you for. We got M3M. Rideshare is vastly superior to food delivery. No waiting, just driving, unless people are able to do rideshare. Anyone, even with accidents, traffic tickets, and old beater cars, can do delivery. That's true. So it's way harder to oversaturate rideshare because you do have to have a newer car. You have to be over 21 instead of 18, which is for food delivery. And in some cities, you have to be over 25 to do rideshare. And so, yeah, it just makes it way harder to oversaturate the markets, which is what DoorDash is totally doing, because they will literally take anyone. Like, you can even do it on a bike or electric scooter or whatever. Like, you don't even need a car. With rideshare, obviously you need a car. So it eliminates a lot of the competition. That's why it's so much better. And like they said, you don't have to wait on restaurants, which is like the best thing ever. I hate waiting on restaurants. And I'm getting so freaking sweaty. My hair looks freaking weird from that, but it's getting hot. This freaking light. It's like a spotlight right on me. Anyway, we got Nugs chiming in again. He says, imagine multi-apping on rideshare and having several guests in your car at the same time. That would be dope. If I could get people to agree to that, like, hey, are you cool if I pick up this other person on the way. Like it's all going to be good, you know. You guys don't need to say anything. Don't say anything to Uber or Lyft. Just like I'll give you a little bit of the cut of money or something like that, you know, figure something out. But yeah, that would be dope. Okay. And we got more B-Balla. LOL, rideshare is where it's at, you say. Oh, that's the fact. Why are Uber and Lyft protesting about low pay? Come on, man, get serious. That's a good point. I mean, I personally don't think the pay should change too much on rideshare. It seems to be pretty good to me. Like consistently averaging over $25 an hour to just drive around, even if you take the most like the most over exaggerated estimate on your expenses, then let's say you only get to pocket half of the money you make. If I'm averaging $28 an hour as a rideshare driver and all of my expenses, including car depreciation and everything, is half of my income, that means I'm still making $14 an hour, which, yeah, that's not the best, but it's the easiest job. I mean, you just have to drive around. So, like, that's still, in my opinion, being able to choose your own hours, work when you want, be your own boss. $14 an hour still beats making $16 an hour making McDonald's burgers. So, like in my opinion, the Uber and Lyft pay, it could be a little bit better, and I get where they're coming from on the strike because they were taking, I think, over half, or maybe it was like 50-50 or something like that, of the pay that the passenger was actually paying for the ride, which is just insane. I mean, they're not doing anything except allowing us to have the platform. We're the ones putting the wear and tear on our car. So in theory, we should be getting the majority of the pay from the customer. Like if they're paying $20 for a ride, we should be getting like 15 of that, in my opinion. And Lyft has supposedly changed the way their pay is to where we get 70%. So anyway, enough on that. Let me just read through these quickly. If I don't say your name, sorry, I'm just trying to read the chats as quickly as possible and answer your guys' questions. Let's see. Seems like making money is going to get harder as time goes on. It's like working a dead end crappy job. Yeah, basically, except at a dead end crappy job, your pay doesn't ever go down. Like you usually stay at where you're at. And like gig work, it seems like it's going down. So that's where it's hard. Uber in Los Angeles is too cheap for drivers, $4 to $5 for 15, 20-minute drives. See, that's where it would be very valid to complain about pay, especially in LA. I work 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Spark. Oh, nice. Uber is fun and good if you're already wealthy. Well, that's true. If you need money, then get a 9 to 5 or work 16-hour Uber shifts. Driving and cruising while giving rides is fun for Uber drivers. So I'm 17, planning on making some extra cash with my friend. What's the best strategy we can use? That's a good question. First of all, whatever you're going to do, I would definitely record it and make a YouTube channel because the sooner you start that and the sooner you get good at making content, the better, in my opinion. That's like the best thing you can do. I would say try and start just like a labor business, whether that's mowing lawns, whether that's pressure washing, whether that's painting, whether that's moving furniture, whether that's anything that's physical labor. Do that and just door to door knock and see if you can get people. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion, and document it. Just record it, record all of it, make content. More, would you rather work only for DoorDash or be an in-and-out manager? I'd rather only work for DoorDash. I hated being a manager. I was a manager at Taco Bell and KFC. That sucked. You want to talk about low pay for hard work? That's what being a manager of a fast food restaurant is. Garbage hours, garbage pay, and garbage everything. Just straight up garbage. Everything about fast food working sucks. Let's see. DoorDash doesn't provide tax forms for Dashers in Canada. I'm not sure. I don't live in Canada, so I'm not sure. During the pandemic, Instacart was amazing, $2,500 a week. Yeah, Instacart was great. I mean, all gig apps were great during the pandemic. Um, DoorDashing in Kansas City is awful. Dang. Maybe try a neighboring area, see if that helps at all, or try rideshare, like I said. So, Blake, you recommend to rely on 3 or more apps at a time instead of just relying on DoorDash, right? Yeah, definitely. I I think it's hard right now to only have one app. If you only have one app, it really limits you, and it's just hard to make decent money from it. If you're just doing it for like kind of a hobby, like something even less than a side hustle, then yeah, you can get away with one app. If you're just chilling, like not really worrying about it, just maybe you got some free time, you don't know what to fill it with, and then you're doing DoorDash or just using one app, then yeah, definitely. That's that's fine to rely on one app. But if you're trying to actually make good money, you got to use more apps. And you got to figure out a way to not just have more apps on your phone, but actually utilize them to work together so that you can make as much money as possible and figure out what times of day to partner, what apps and stuff like that. Like you got to try out everything. I've been testing stuff for, like I said, almost 6 years now. And you got to try and figure out what works the best for your specific area. That's how you're going to make the most money. Um, Let's see. We got Gelato Runts. I read the previous comments and you can't make a career out of DoorDash, my man. Don't believe me. Try it out and you'll see for yourself. Yeah, you can't make a career out of it. That's for sure. You really cannot make a career out of DoorDash. Now, I mean, I'm just going to be fully transparent with you guys. You could make a career out of it if you were documenting everything and you're uploading YouTube videos and shorts and TikToks about it because you can get paid off of those platforms. So like if you're just going to use DoorDash, like I could just live off of what I make from DoorDash and YouTube because I'm documenting the stuff that I've learned throughout the years and just my different shifts and stuff I'm running into. So, I mean, that's me being fully transparent is that like that can be a career. But if you're just doing DoorDash and not having any investments or not trying to start a different business or not utilizing it to or utilizing it as a stepping stone, then yeah, you can't have it as a career because after like 3, 4, 5 years, it's just going to completely obliterate your bank account because you're going to have to buy a new car or stuff's going to be going out on your car, blah, blah, blah. I've gone into that before. We don't need to rehash that. Let me get to some more of these chats. If there is anything you didn't know about DoorDash and could tell yourself when you first started doing DoorDash, what would it be? That you make way less money than you think you're making. And it's not something you can do long term. It's something you can do long term if you're doing it less than part time. Like if you're just doing it maybe 2 hours a day or maybe 10 hours a week, then yeah, you can do it for however long you want because it's not going to cost you much in wear and tear. But if you're trying to do it as like a career, then you could do it if you're willing to work the amount of hours it takes, but it's just not worth it. Like, why would you be doing it if you're having to work 14 hours a day to make the same as what you could at a 9 to 5 job working only like 8 hours? So, like, if you're really trying to make it a full time career, it's just going to be difficult unless you use it as a stepping stone into an actual career. So, yeah, if I could tell myself one thing, it would be don't get your hopes too high on the amount of money you're making because I mean, you get in an accident, you have to replace something that's expensive, you are paying for gas constantly, oil changes constantly, brake pads constantly. It gets exhausting not being able to keep the money that you're making. That's the bottom line. But I mean, that's how it is with any business. There's expenses that come along with it. But the problem with DoorDash compared to other businesses, which I'm going to get into more after I'm done reading these chats, is that there's no upside. You can you can quit DoorDash and all of the work you put into it, it meant nothing because you're not building on anything. You're actually doing the opposite of building on stuff. You're depreciating your car. You're not doing anything that is building up for something where you can have an exit. Even on a normal job, you're working towards maybe a 401k match. You're working towards maybe bonuses or retirement, stuff like that. But with gig work, there's no 401k match. There's no benefits. There's nothing except just depreciation. So that's what makes it so difficult. We got B Baller, Blake, great channel. You got an info you provide for the gig economy. Keep up the good work and thank you for your service. Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you watching these live streams and watching my videos. Really, I appreciate it. I always hit the like on all your videos. I appreciate that, honestly. That means a lot. Ricky Roy Ball, is it possible to make $500 a day in 2024 only doing Uber Eats? No, not possible unless you're doing 20 hours in a day. And even then, you're not going to be able to keep $500. So we're at 41 minutes on this live stream. So I am going to be getting into some of the stuff that I was talking about in regards to the video. We went over the low DoorDash pay, which was the first thing I wanted to hit on. But now I want to hit on the last three things are kind of they all go hand in hand. $500 a day, gig work mastermind, and gosh, I can't remember the title of my video. Oh yeah, goals. So yeah, $500 a day, goals, and a gig work mastermind. So the first thing I wanted to ask is, what are your guys' goals? Like, let me know in the chat what your guys' goals are with doing gig work, because I'm super curious to know. I think it would help me curate my content for my loyal viewers, because I really just want to give you guys as much knowledge and things that I've learned over the years. Because I've done it for, like I said, this is my 6th year. I've learned a lot. I've tried basically every single app that I can try, and I've gone out for many hours. I've tested a bunch of things. And so I just want to give you guys as much value as possible. So what are your goals? Why do you do gig work? I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say. Let's see, Mr. Jo, I see it as a stepping stone to build. Why can't I see that? Oh, to build what I need, I think. To build what I need and start in the business I really want. Okay, so are a lot of you guys looking at gig work as just like a stepping stone? Like maybe you're wanting to start something else as an entrepreneur, but gig work is just the best way to have a steady income. Is that what a lot of you guys are doing? I'm curious. My goal is to get my driver's license, do gig work full-time, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, making close to 6 figures a year, even though I'd be having expenses such as gas, oil changes, tires, and taxes, which would take up the most of what I take home. So is your goal to just work as many hours as possible and like save up money? Is that what you're saying, Gelato Runts? Mr. Jo, that is what I'm doing too. In fact, I am an intentional student and work at it while I don't have a job in my field. Okay, so you're just using it. This is Leonardo Alcantara. You're just using it as a stepping stone as well. If I'm understanding that correctly. We got Lakers 17-time champs. I do gig work for the freedom. I invest a lot of my money in day trade. So you're just doing it for the freedom. Gotcha. Joel B, is this guy still crying about DoorDash? Yeah, I shed so many tears when it comes to DoorDash. I mean, just tear after tear rolling down my face because of how much I hate DoorDash. You came to his chat to find out. That is true. I do gig work to get out of debt. That's a great way. I do think it's a good way to get out of debt. So we got people using it as a stepping stone to start a different business. That's kind of what I thought a lot of people would say. And then we got people getting out of debt. We got people investing which is great. That's something I'm going to be talking about. And then, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. If you guys are watching this and you're doing it for something else, comment in the chat because I want to hear what you guys have to say. I just got to know the channel, but I noticed DoorDash has very crappy Dasher support compared to other apps. They treat you poorly and end the chat on your face. Yeah, DoorDash support sucks, in my opinion. But I'm just going to take what was already said to me. So we got the people using it as a stepping stone. And that's kind of what I wanted to say and tie it into the $500 a day and also tie it into the mastermind. Because would you guys be interested in me doing more of these lives where we can just kind of mastermind together and figure out ways, give insights to different things that would help everyone who joins these live streams eventually hit that $500 a day? I mean, I think that would be incredible if we could do something like that. Have like a gig work mastermind. Maybe your goal is not $500 a day. Maybe it's just 200 or 300, but maybe we could still have masterminds that are directly correlated into helping you make more with just gig work. But I think $500 a day is very doable, not just doing gig work. Unfortunately, I think you max out at like $200 a day, and that's profit. I mean, you can definitely hit $300 a day if you're doing it for 10, 12 hours. But that's not what you get to keep. So I would say like profit, you kind of cap out at $200 a day. So you got to figure out a way to make up that $300, which is very difficult. And I personally, I have done it before, but it's not as consistent as I would like it. And so some of the ways that we can increase the pay to $500 a day, which I think is a great goal, is you have to detach your time to the amount of money you're making. So with gig work, that's why I think it's perfect to start out with as an entrepreneur, because you can use the money that you're making, work however hard you want, use the money you're making to invest in other things. I think you definitely need to be saving, not necessarily saving, but investing like half of whatever you're making from gig work to make it worth it in the long run. So some of the things you could invest in are stocks. I would be putting money away definitely towards a retirement, put some money into a Roth IRA or 401k and just get some S&P 500. Now, I can't give out financial advice because I'm not qualified, I guess, but this is just some of the things that I do. So yeah, S&P 500, make sure you're having a retirement fund so that you are building on something. That's the whole point of what I'm trying to talk about in regards to the $500 a day. It doesn't even have to be $500 a day. That was just a number I thought would be like super cool if a lot of people could hit. But you want to just be focusing on things that are building towards something. So if you're just getting paid from DoorDash, not saving for your future expenses, not putting money into a retirement account, not investing anything, then like I said, you are not only are you not building towards anything, you're just depreciating everything. Everything you're working for is not going towards anything. So definitely start retirement fund, start investing. If you don't know what to invest in, just invest in the S&P 500. You can go on any of the, I guess you would call them like financial websites. You can do like Fidelity. You can do even like Robinhood. You can do Webull. You can do what, Vanguard, Goldman Sachs, any of these. Just create an account and then look up the S&P 500 equivalent stock that they have and just buy into that. That's all you got to do for a retirement fund. You definitely have to be building towards something. And that's the bare minimum. That is the very bare minimum of building towards something, because you don't want to go 5 years of gig work and then maybe your car breaks down. You have to buy a new one. Maybe you don't have enough money to buy a new one. Well, now you're just screwed. And everything you just worked for, you have nothing. And I just don't want people to run into that, because I feel like I've kind of run into that similar thing because I totaled my car about, what was it, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. And that was like 4 years into me doing gig work. And if I hadn't gotten, or if I hadn't been fully insured, I would have been screwed. I mean, I did not have enough money saved to buy a new car or anything like that. So that is definitely something you need to be thinking about. Put money away for expenses, put money away for retirement, and invest because, like I keep saying, you want to be building towards something. Now, I think an even better way to build towards something and eventually be able to hit that $500 a day is you want to be investing in things that pay you when you're not working on them. So that would be businesses, in my opinion, or maybe not even necessarily businesses, but like this is just an example. I've never done this, but I've seen videos on it. You guys probably have too. It like if you were to buy a vending machine, yeah, it's an upfront cost, but it's going to be paying you for a very long time. So you're going to be getting that income. So if you save from DoorDash, Uber, Lyft, whatever you're doing, you save some money and you're putting it into something that's going to be giving you money where you don't have to be putting your time into it. You just buy a vending machine and then you just have to restock it every week or whatever. That's just an example. I've never done it. I don't even know if vending machines are that profitable, but you guys get what I'm saying. Put it towards something where you don't have to be working directly on it, or start a business and hire things out to where you barely have to work on it. Like I've mentioned before, I've done work with my real estate broker where I was editing his videos, helping him make them, doing his thumbnails for him, everything like that. And he would pay me a certain amount for doing that. But I could hire out the work and just kind of be the behind the scenes guy running things and not actually having to do the editing myself, and then take the profit of that and really not have to be working in the business. So you could try something like that. Take one of your skills and try and monetize it to where you are not having to work directly all the time. Your pay is not directly correlated to the hours you're putting into it. Because that's, in my opinion, that's the only way you're going to get to $500 a day. That without that, you're going to have to be making over $50 an hour for the most part, which is really hard unless you have a specialized degree in something. So that's what I'm trying to focus on this live stream is we want to be building towards something that's going to be paying us dividends. We don't want the work we do, the 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week that we're putting in on DoorDash to mean nothing in the long run. That's definitely what you don't want to happen. So other ways you could capitalize on things that don't directly correlate with your time is like having let's see, how do I want to say this? Doing sales, some type of sales job on the side, or maybe even have that be your full time and then do gig work on the side, because sales is not directly correlated with the time you put into it. Like I got my real estate license as I was doing DoorDash. It was an online course to get my real estate license. And I did it while I was DoorDashing. I would just have the videos playing on my phone. And then at the end of the video, you answer a couple questions. And then at the end, you do have to go in and take the test. But I was literally making money doing DoorDash, utilizing it as a stepping stone to get into real estate. And then real estate, it's not correlated with your time. You could put in 2 hours and end up making $10,000. You could put in 50 hours and make no money. So you want to be building towards something, though, that's not directly correlated to your time. Otherwise, you're just going to constantly be in the rat race. And I think a lot of people, when they get into gig work, they think like, oh, I'm an independent contractor now. I escaped the rat race and I'm good. I can work when I want and everything's going to be good now. But you really didn't escape the rat race. I think it's really it kind of just like puts a blindfold over you in a sense. I don't know if that's the correct analogy, but you think that you're out of the rat race when you're really not, because it's just a different rat race. And so that, from what I'm seeing, is some of your guys' goals is to use it as a stepping stone, which is great. And so that's why I want to, on these live streams, talk about ways we can make money. And I can even do a lot more research and bring stuff that I'm learning or testing out, different ways to make money, to you guys so that you can eventually, you know, escape the rat race officially. Because I think that's the end goal for any independent contractor or any entrepreneur is you don't want to constantly be working. Like, you want to be building towards something to where you're getting paid for the work you put in the past. And the more work you put in, the later down the line, the more money you're going to be getting paid for the fruits of your labor. So I'm going to read some more chats, and then we'll get into the next topic, and then we'll wrap things up because we're almost at an hour already. Let's see. Oh, wow, I missed a lot. We're going to go here. True, gig work should not be a man's life goal. Eventually, rideshare and delivery drivers may not even be necessary. Self-driving cars and drones are already here, guys. Yeah, that's true too. It's like you don't want all of a sudden all the work you put in all these years to not mean anything because you just got replaced by a drone or a self-driving car. Like at a 9-to-5 job, you're working towards something because you're usually working towards a raise or a certain bonus or a promotion or whatever it is. But I think a lot of people forget it's just us. We're just independent contractors. We're delivery drivers. Like, there is no working towards anything unless you're doing it yourself. It's not going to be a raise in the future that we can look forward to. It's not going to be anything like that. So you have to take it upon yourself to make it mean something when you're out on the road, investing in things, using it as a stepping stone, all the things we just talked about. We got Neen FGC, tips for small YouTubers trying to get monetized. I mean, I would still consider myself a small YouTuber, but you're talking about like under 1,000 subscribers, you're trying to get monetized. Consistency, put out a lot of content. Try and do at minimum, I would say like 3 videos a week plus a short every single day. But yeah, that's really all I can say. It's really hard. Try and improve something every video as well. Practice your talking skills, things like that. But yeah, some of the time it's just luck. If you guys want me to talk more about like YouTube strategies because you want to be working towards that and film yourself as a DoorDash driver so that you can put out videos and start making that money from YouTube, then let me know because I'll share whatever you guys want me to in terms of growing a YouTube channel. I mean, I don't know how to grow it outside of the gig work space because that's all I've ever done really. But I mean, I think a lot of the stuff I've learned over the years of doing YouTube can apply across any niche that you're trying to get into if you don't want to just film yourself doing DoorDash or whatever it is. But I do think that I did want to touch on that actually is I think that is a great source of income for delivery drivers is it is kind of a hot topic where you can put out content and make money from it. And you can just record yourself doing your daily work. I mean, because we don't have a boss, because we're allowed to be on our phones as much as we want, like you can record everything you're doing and put out content, even if you're not good at editing or anything like that. Just record a quick thought about something or record a bad order and make it into a short. I mean, I'm literally just trying to be as transparent as possible with you guys because I think YouTube is a great way to make money because it's not directly correlated with your time, like I was saying. But I wanted to show you guys this. Like, I think it was yesterday, I made that short. A lot of you guys probably saw it about that garbage Uber Eats order. Like, I'm talking terrible Uber Eats order. And it's gotten 9.7 thousand views. And yeah, that's partly because I've built up an audience thanks to you guys, which I appreciate you guys a lot because without you, none of the stuff I'm even talking about right now would be possible. But like just that video, anyone could make something like that and get that, maybe not that amount of views at the start, but eventually get that many views and more on just talking about an order that you're doing. Like this is the stuff we need to be thinking about as delivery drivers and as rideshare drivers is we can't let these companies control everything. Like we're independent contractors. We got to be doing stuff on the side to build something for the future. That's the whole point of this live stream, is we got to be doing that. So if you guys have any questions about starting a YouTube channel, or about getting monetized, or about how much you make as a small YouTube creator, or as a DoorDash YouTube creator, or anything like that, I would love to answer your questions on that. So hopefully that helped you a little bit. Neen FGC, just consistency, and try to get a little bit better each time, each video. But yeah, consistency is definitely key when it comes to content. We've got this one, how to reactivate your DoorDash account. There's a couple of different ways. I've made a video on it. So if you just search like more driven, how to reactivate your DoorDash account, then it'll come up. But just a quick way would be to just call Dasher support. See if they'll reactivate it for you. Should I keep my $11.50 per hour dishwasher job or do DoorDash full time? I would keep your dishwasher job. Try DoorDash out. Maybe just ask for a week off of your dishwasher job. Do DoorDash full time for a week. See if you like it. See if it pays you good enough. Watch some of the videos that are out there, either mine or other people's, on the expenses that are correlated with DoorDash. Figure out the profit that you're making in terms of the specific car you're driving, and figure out if that's better than $11.50 per hour, or if maybe it's a tiny bit less, the profit you're making, but you enjoy it a lot more, then yeah, I would do it. But I wouldn't just quit your job to do it, because you might hate it or you might love it, but you get going and maybe you go 45 minutes without an order. Maybe you go a day where you only make $15 in 5 hours. Stuff like that happens, where as a dishwasher, that's consistent pay. So like I said, just try it out first. You don't want to jump to anything when it comes to DoorDashing. I got this one. Totally agree about being so hard on your car. Yeah. Got this one. Bro, what's going on with Uber Eats? Been getting under $7 or $7 orders today. Yeah, mine was the opposite. I've actually been getting really good orders on Uber Eats lately, like better than DoorDash for sure. Maybe that's because I do Uber more. So maybe I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm seeing better orders all of a sudden. But yeah, this one, it's true. You don't want to just jump into the stock market. Yes, you can make money, but you need to have a portfolio in multiple investments. That's very true. Do you feel like DoorDash is getting worse because of the immigrants, since it's easy for them to become a DoorDash driver? I mean, I don't think it's just immigrants. I don't think it has necessarily anything to do with that. It's just as much on us. Like anyone who's joining DoorDash is the problem. I mean, the problem. It's not really a problem. It's oversaturating everything. Doesn't matter where you come from. If you're getting on the DoorDash platform, then you're taking away from the people who are already on it. That's just the thing. Like, it is what it is. That's just, I wish DoorDash would have a harder barrier on the amount of dashers per area. That would be really nice, but it seems like they just want to oversaturate it. Let's see. If you want to make $500 a day, talk to someone who's making $500 a day. That's very true. And like I said, I've been, I don't know for how long, but I've fairly consistently been able to hit $500 a day with all of the stuff I'm doing. Now, obviously that varies. Sometimes 300, sometimes 700. So that's why I'm trying to give you guys as much knowledge as I've learned, because gig work, you can encompass so many other things with it because you have the freedom of your time. So that's what I'm just trying to give you guys, is all the stuff I've learned to maximize the amount of money that I make on a day-to-day basis. Gig apps are great supplemental income. Very true. Like you don't want it as your main source of income. And we can moan and complain all we want about wanting better pay, which I agree with. Like, we should get the majority of what the customer is paying. Totally agree with that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like DoorDash is going to do what they want. Uber is going to do what they want. And it's up to us as independent contractors to find other benefits of being a gig worker and to find other things that can make us money in the meantime. We'll even find things to make money while you're sitting waiting for orders. Like there's so much freedom of time that we've got to be creative and not let these guys dictate how much money we're making. I mean, we're independent contractors. We need to do something about it where if you're waiting for orders, figure something out to where maybe you can be making some content while you're waiting on orders. Maybe you can be doing some work online for someone or editing for someone on a laptop in your car or even trying to start like a Shopify store or something like that, like doing research on a different side hustle that you want to get into or a different business you want to start, stuff like that. Make sure you're utilizing the freedom of time. That is very important as a gig worker. Let's see. Some of these, Tyler is asking, you make $500 a day. How? So the income sources I have right now are obviously all my gig work. I can just lump that into one. So DoorDash, Uber Eats, Lyft, Instacart, all the gig apps. That's one stream of income. I have YouTube, which is I guess encompasses a lot. It's YouTube AdSense, it's sponsorship deals, I guess that's basically it. But I have that, and then I also do have my real estate license, and then trying to think of what else. I have investment income. I did that work, like I said, for my real estate broker, doing his content, which I don't do anymore. We've just taken a long break from it. I don't know if we'll start up again or what, but you want as many things to, you want as many, how do I say this? You want as many, not necessarily streams of income, but you want to, just like you would with an investment, where you want as many branches of investments as possible. So then if one market tanks, you're saved by the other markets because they're not correlated. That's how you want to think of yourself. You are your own market. You are your own business because you're an independent contractor. So you want as many things as possible, as many options as you can have. Like, because if you are a real estate agent and you're a gig worker and you're a YouTuber and you do editing for people and you start a pressure washing business and you have a couple of vending machines and you have money invested in the stock market and you invest in crypto, like all those things, it's going to be hard to lose. And you're going to end up making $500 a day if you're sticking with things long enough. You just want to acquire as many skills as possible. I don't know if you guys watch Alex Hormozy at all. I watch him a lot. And he is very good at saying, like, invest in yourself. You want as many skills as possible and you want to buy down the time it takes you to develop those skills. The more skills you acquire as an independent contractor, the more money you're going to make. So if the only skill you have is you know how to drive a car, well, then you're very limited. You're very limited to driving for DoorDash and Lyft and Uber. But say you acquire the skill of editing. Well, that opens up a lot more things. Or you acquire the skill of knowing how to run a business, or you know how to run a Shopify store, or you know how to, whatever it is, right? The more skills you acquire as a sole proprietor, independent contractor, the more branches you're going to have, which are going to be sticking. If we're sticking with this metaphor, those branches are going to be going into better streams of income. And you're going to end up making $500 a day just because that's just what will happen from acquiring the skills and you putting in the hours. Let's see. Is Chicago a good area? I don't know. Never been in it. I can't do Uber anymore. Entire market is upside down orders. Yeah, Uber. I think you're talking about Uber Eats, or are you talking about Uber Rideshare? I'm not sure. How do you feel about reservation trips? A lot of the time they pay the most for me. Yeah, Those scheduled trips are super good. I had one today that was on Lyft, $6 for, I think it was 2 miles, and it only took me 6 minutes to do. So those are super good. Unfortunately, there's not that many in my area, but yeah, I would recommend doing those scheduled rides as much as possible. Let's see. Why are restaurants taking so long nowadays to get orders out? I think it's just low staff. A lot of people don't want to work fast food, which I don't blame them. I mean, I worked fast food. People don't show up for their shifts. It's such a bad place to work, in my opinion. So that is probably why we see um, restaurants taking a long time. And also, there's more orders now than ever before. So when restaurants are getting all these orders, it's hard for them to keep up with the demand at certain times of the day. Just because DoorDash is oversaturating the market doesn't mean these restaurants have hired enough people to, combat the influx of orders, which if you guys watched my last or 2 videos ago, I talked about DoorDash's earnings statement came out for quarter 4, and they're hitting all-time record highs on everything. Everything is at a record high for DoorDash right now. So, yeah, I think that's why restaurants are taking a while. We got a super chat. Appreciate that. Unknown man. Um, where/how did you learn to edit? Best software tutorial. I would definitely start with just learning iMovie. So, uh, um, the way I started off was I bought Graham Stephan's course on how to start a YouTube channel, how to become a YouTuber. It was like $199, and it was so worth it. It gives you in-depth insight into a lot of things. So if you want to check that out, go over to his channel, Graham Stephan. I don't know if you guys watch him, but Graham Stephan, I bought his tutorial. But if you want to just know like how to learn to edit, then I would just look up tutorials on YouTube. Start off with iMovie. It is the most comprehensive editing software. But if you don't have an Apple product, then you don't have iMovie. And then I would say to learn CapCut. CapCut is very user friendly. I use it. It doesn't take a whole lot of editing knowledge, and there's some good tutorials on there. So I would just look it up on YouTube, um, learn iMovie or CapCut. CapCut, you can do a lot more. So if you want to start off with CapCut, then you could do that. But iMovie is just the easiest to understand, and it'll give you the basics so that you can actually just start making content, because you don't want to spend too long as a beginner on like editing your videos. You want to put out maybe like 20 to 100 videos, like before you really start figuring out how you want to edit, things like that. And you'll get better just with practice. So just start with the basics, iMovie, and you should be good. And you can look up a lot of the tutorials on YouTube, like I said, or I learned everything, a lot of the YouTube knowledge I have and how I started learning to edit and everything from Graham Stephan's tutorial. So hopefully that answered your question. I really appreciate the super chats, guys. That means the world to me. Tyler, I would think rideshare would be good for Chicago because you have multiple airports in that area. Yeah, that's true. Airport rides are the highest paying. My market is always busy on weekends. Thankfully, I easily do 250 plus Friday through Sunday. Gig work is alive and well. That's awesome. I hope it keeps up for you, honestly, because when you're making good money, it's just the best. We got let's see. We got okay. I mean, let's see. Are you going to do another Instacart video or Spark? Yeah, I'll do more Instacart videos because I do think Instacart's one of the best apps right now because it decreases the wear and tear on your car so much because you don't have to drive that much, which is nice. So I am going to make more Instacart videos. Unfortunately, I'm not on Walmart Spark. I've been on the waiting list for so long. And so, yeah, I wish I could do that. But anyway, we're going to be wrapping up here pretty soon. Let me get to the last thing that I wanted to get to. Oh, yeah, those masterminds. Are you guys interested in that at all? Or just should I just keep doing lives and letting you guys answer or ask as many questions as you want, and I can try and answer them to the best of my ability. Because I think that's one of the most important things as the gig community is to just make sure we're giving each other as much knowledge as possible, as many tips and tricks, as many ways to make money, as many things as possible. We got to stick together. We're all trying to make money out here. That's why I think for a lot of us, we do become gig workers because we want the freedom of time, but we also want to be able to work for ourselves and put the money making power into our hands and not the hands of a corporation. So I think if we can just all help each other, I think I'm going to start doing more lives, like maybe even every night or something like that. Just try and give you guys as much knowledge as I'm getting, and you guys can give me all the things that you are learning and everything. So, yeah, that's probably going to be it for this stream. Any other questions just to finish up? Anything you guys want me to answer or anything like that? But yeah, more lives coming this week. If you guys enjoy them, which it seems like you do, I'm seeing I like the live and ride alongs. Thanks for the stream, bro. I hope you do more of these. Yeah, I think you guys are liking them. So I think I'm going to start. I'll try and do like three a week. We'll start off with that. See how they go. But yeah, anytime you guys have a question or something, hop on these live streams with me or ask them in the comments. Because yeah, I want to give you guys as much knowledge as I can. So hopefully you enjoyed this live stream and hopefully you learned something because I know I enjoyed talking to you guys. I enjoy hanging out, and it's interesting as a gig worker because you don't have coworkers, and so this is kind of our workspace where you can have coworkers in the chat, talk to each other, talk to me if you want. I do have a question here. What cars do you own? I only own a Chevy Cruze. I used to own a Mercedes C300, not the best to do gig work in, but yeah, I only own 2016 Chevy Cruze. And then also another super chat from Unknown Man. Appreciate that, man. Really, really, I appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for all the super chats. Anyone who left me a super chat, truly, truly grateful. It really helps me know that I'm giving you guys some value. Just these last chats, nothing is better. Believe me, living a life that we're living right now, independent. Yeah, independency it's great. Do you think DoorDash will ever do anything about illegal immigrants using two different accounts to do DoorDash? I haven't. I don't know. I'm not knowledgeable on that. I don't know of anyone that can use two accounts. As far as I'm aware of, that's not allowed. So I don't know how they're getting around that. But not possible to make $500 a day here in Florida. I don't know if you just joined the live stream, but we were talking about $500 a day, and that wasn't all gig work stuff. We were talking about how we want to use gig work to build up to $500 a day using investments or other side hustles, things like that. Yeah, looks like that's it on the questions in the chat. But yeah, thank you guys. I'm going to be doing more lives. I'll try and let you guys know beforehand so you can hop on as soon as possible when I start these. But yeah, appreciate everything. And I'll see you guys some other time this week. Yeah, I'll be doing lives. I'll try and do another one by the end of the week. And then hopefully I can get to like 3 or 4 live streams every week so that we can just have this coworker feel, this communal dialogue going, letting each other know how we can get to $500 a day. Because I think that would be great that if everyone could do that, that'd be awesome. So anyways, yeah, thank you guys so much. Appreciate everything. Appreciate the viewership. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.